Hey guys, Chris Amos here. This week I've been testing the 2016 Volkswagen Jetta SE. This is the 1.4 turbo, new for 2016 model year. And overall, it's a pretty nice car. For the price that it is, for what it is, I like the transmission. It does what you want it to do. It's responsive. It's not the DSG. It's just a traditional 6-speed automatic. I like the way it rides. It's pretty comfortable, pretty well controlled over bumps, handles these Michigan roads really well, and it doesn't handle too bad either. The 1.4 liter engine is actually surprisingly powerful, and there's pretty minimal turbo lag. It almost feels like a naturally aspirated engine. It's just a little bit larger displacement. Doesn't sound particularly inspiring, but it gets the job done, and definitely puts out enough power. Besides that, I'm just going to kind of go through some of the usual stuff with this Jetta. Volkswagen usually does pretty good base model, entry-level cars. They get a lot of their kind of Volkswagen Audi DNA from higher up in the lineup. This car does have quite a bit of plastic in it. The dash and the trim pieces are kind of cheap, but there are really worse-looking interiors in the market, even though this one might come off as a little bit bland or a little bit dull. This car does have the connectivity package, so it's got Apple CarPlay, which is kind of neat. Honestly, I haven't really used it yet this week, but it is a pretty cool feature. Mostly because I use Waze for my navigation, and I don't really trust the Apple Maps anymore. Alright, but really we want to talk about the driving dynamics. Brakes feel pretty good. Nothing funny going on with the brake pedal. It's pretty progressive. Like I said, I do like this transmission. It is pretty responsive. You put your foot down and it pretty much responds immediately. It's not as quick as a DSG, of course, but it definitely it doesn't leave you wanting for gears or anything like that. Engine's really quiet, even at full throttle. It's pretty silent. And on the road, when you're cruising, no engine noise, not a lot of NVH. It's pretty quiet in here. Pretty standard for most Volkswagens and Audis. I do like the steering wheel. It's got this nice thin wheel rim to it. Falls to hand well. It's got a little bit of a flat bottom going on here. Right now we're in sport mode, and that was actually a pretty quick shift. So when you put it in S, it does speed up things a little bit. I'll show you guys the turning radius here once we get a clear view. It is kind of morning rush hour right now, so we are going to be getting a little bit more traffic than usual. This doesn't have a fast steering rack like any of the GTI or R models. Power band's pretty linear. I mean, there's not a whole lot of power at any major point in the rev band. But it's not a sluggish car, that's for sure. One thing I'm really impressed with is fuel economy. All week we've been ragging on it, and I'm getting around 32 miles to the gallon, give or take. I think this car is rated for 28 in the city and 39 on the highway. So pretty impressive fuel economy. And of course, whenever I'm driving these press cars, I usually get on it quite a bit. for testing reasons, of course. But we've been driving this car pretty hard, and still putting out 31 miles to the gallon, 32 miles to the gallon on the readout is pretty impressive. I would say if you stayed out of the boost and you stayed out of the throttle, you'd be getting some pretty impressive fuel economy numbers. Audio system's pretty decent. Of course, I can't show you that, but it sounds pretty good. No navigation or anything in this car. Let me show you how the brakes do. Of course, it's a little bit wet out, but it's all right. All right, so here's a braking test. Pretty responsive. And there's 60. I have a lot of room, just lots of leg room. It feels very airy and very spacious in here. Pretty decent headroom and legroom in the back seat as well. I have a good amount of headroom, lots of adjustability in the seat. The wheel telescopes in and out, up and down. Pretty easy to find a good driving position. These seats don't offer a whole lot of bolstering and grip support, but they're pretty grippy, and the car also doesn't have a lot of grip on these eco tires either, so you don't really need much bolstering, but they're pretty comfortable seats. They go up and down. They're all manual in this car. Good for weight savings. All the touch points feel pretty good. Volkswagen has a way of kind of making all the things you touch have a nice premium feel. I really like the leather on this steering wheel. It just feels awesome. Shifter feels good. Handbrake has the same type of treatment. Let's get out and I'll show you around the car. Of course, you guys have probably seen these on the road for ages and ages. You know what it looks like, but we'll do a little quick walk around anyway. Headlights you have to turn on and off on your own, which is kind of annoying. I wish they would just do it automatically, but it is what it is. Good old halogen lights on this one. If you want to see how this car looks at night, check out our POV Night Drive on the Winding Road Magazine YouTube channel. Lots of trunk space. Pretty big opening in there for the back seats to go down. You just pull these levers. One nice thing is the trunk pops on its own, so you don't have to pop it from the front seat, and it'll just come up. Lots of room in the back. Pretty comfortable back here. Lots of headroom, legroom. Little cup holders. 12-volt outlet, and then a couple little storage spaces. Here's what the engine looks like. As always, Volkswagen hoods are really easy to open. Release is right there. Tiny little engine. Hear those direct injectors clattering away. This car has a reverse camera. It doesn't show you everything from side to side, and it doesn't have a cross traffic warning, so you do have to look around, which you really should be doing anyway. really pretty smooth shifts in this car. This is a great transmission. Shifts are pretty seamless. Yeah, feels good. Up here we'll get on the highway and show you how it does it around some higher speed corners. I mean, really, you know, it's kind of a base model Jetta. It is what you'd expect it to be. I think this car costs around $23,000 plus destination and everything. Yeah, $23,145. MSRP is $22,325. So, you know, handling, there's a little bit of body roll. We're on eco tires right now, so of course you're not going to have the mechanical grip that you have with all seasons or summer tires. Well, I guess they are all seasons, but they're eco all seasons. Put it in sport mode for effect. Definitely doesn't handle poorly. It takes the bends with confidence. Steering feel is okay. You can kind of get a little idea of what's going on with the front wheels. And like I mentioned earlier, pretty nice and quiet on cruising. The one thing well, there's actually a couple things I don't like about this car. One is I don't like that you have to turn on and off the lights manually, but the second thing is I'm not a fan of this cruise control setup that they have going on here with Volkswagen's Mark 7 style cars. I know they're pretty much using this for everything these days, but I really did like the stock on the Mark 6. You could use it with one hand. You could do it without looking at what the buttons were what. And with this, maybe you'd get used to it over time, but there's just so many different buttons and functions, and they're in so many different places. I mean, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different buttons here to use cruise control. And I feel like if you're in a real life situation, you want to just know exactly where your cancel button is, or you want to know exactly where your set and reset is. And there aren't clear distinctions on these buttons. It's not a fan of it. Here's what the horn sounds like. Good angry German horn. I don't know, that might be a YouTube first. I'm not sure if any reviewers do horn tests. Could be a defining point of this channel. Alright guys, well that's really all I have to say about the Jetta. Pretty nice car for what it is. It would make an excellent daily driver. It's comfortable, rides really well, handles pretty well. It does all the things that you would need from your standard German sedan appliance car that gets you from A to B efficiently, reliably, and cheaply. So, cool. If you want a Jetta, go get one. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.